Hello, and welcome to the National Naval Officers Association's virtual brown bag. My name is Mary McAdams. I'm a retired Navy captain and the chair of the National Naval Officers Association's Career Development Committee, better known as NNOA. So get your lunch or get a snack, and let's get to our topic for today. Oh, and make sure you vote. Today is November the 7th, and it's our duty to vote. So, NNOA has a mission to enhance sea service operational readiness by supporting recruiting, professional development, and retention to achieve a diverse officer corps that reflects the demographics of our nation. Our virtual brown bags are part of our professional development. Please place any questions you have for our guests in the YouTube chat function. We will take questions throughout the virtual brown bag discussions. Our today's topic is the Navy's information warfare community. Once I introduce our Admiral and our JO, I will turn the conversation over to them. So we have joining us Lieutenant Perkins. Lieutenant Perkins is currently in transition from OPNAV N6 as the Deputy Executive Assistant to the Oceanographer of the Navy to the Office of Legislative Affairs for orientation and training, as she will be assigned to the staff of one of our congresspersons or congresswomen or congressmen. You take your pick on that one. She's a native of Selma, Alabama. She was commissioned from Tuskegee University in Tuskegee, Alabama in 2016. She earned a Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering and her commission in the United States Navy. Also joining us today is Rear Admiral Tracy Hines. Admiral Hines is currently the Deputy Director of the J3 at U.S. Space Command. Admiral Hines' most recent assignment was at Navy Cyber Security Division Director, Office of the Chief of Naval Operations. And before that, she was the Executive Assistant to the Chief of Naval Operations. She is from Columbus, Ohio, and received her commission through the Limited Duty Officer Program in 1996. And in 2004, she graduated from the American Intercontinental University with a degree in business management. In 2007, Admiral Hines laterally transferred into the information warfare community. She is a qualified information warfare officer, a qualified surface warfare officer, and holds numerous other qualifications. Please remember, audience, if you have questions, please place them in the YouTube chat function. Again, our topic today is the Navy's information warfare community. I will now turn our luncheon conversation over to Lieutenant Perkins and Admiral Hines. Lieutenant Perkins, take it away.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so happy to be a part of this wonderful brown bag discussion today. Captain McAdams, thank you so much for the invitation. As a Meat Talk officer, I'm really grateful for the opportunity to have this conversation today regarding the information warfare community. Admiral Hines, you are a true trailblazer in the information warfare community. And I'm grateful to not only have had the opportunity to serve alongside of you at OPNAV, but also for this opportunity today. So thank you again, ma'am, for making time for us this afternoon. If you don't mind, I'll go ahead and kick this off with a question.
I do not mind, but first and foremost, I just want to say thank you for this opportunity. Mary McAdams, you are the true trailblazer. As I was talking to you earlier, how you're still serving and still doing some great things. So being a part of the NNOA and having these luncheons just to educate and for us to get a chance to synergize, I think it's fantastic. So I am just so honored to be here, and I really thank you for this opportunity.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. So to kick things off, I want to start off by asking you a question related to the information warfare community. Is the IWC, can you talk briefly about whether or not the IWC is open for transfers from the Navy or from other Navy communities or from other services?
Well, great question. The short answer is yes, yes, and yes. But let me talk a little bit about the information warfare community. First and foremost, we just celebrated our 14th year anniversary. So it was like happy birthday to us on the 31st of October. You think 14 years, not a long time, but I'll tell you what we've done is we made intelligence, information, cryptologic warfare, cyber, communications, networks, oceanography, space, maritime domain awareness, and Navy unmanned systems a part of a cadre of functions. And a lot of times people say, oh, well, are they disaggregated? No, we have experts that play a vital role in ensuring that our Navy remains at the forefront of information warfare in an ever evolving digital age. So IW, of course, as you know, has become critical to naval warfare for decades. And the transition that occurred 14 years ago marked a significant milestone for our Navy. It recognizes that each of the information warfare domains are not separate entities, but interconnected parts of the overall missions. So before you want to join the lateral end, you got to know what are the various aspects to the information warfare community. As I mentioned, oceanography, cryptologic warfare, information professional, intelligence officer, cyber warfare, and maritime space officer, which is one of our new designators. So yes, the IWC is open for transfers from other Navy communities. As you know, you have to there has to be an in quota or an out quota based on your year group for the actual designator that you're in now. But you start with your community managers, you determine, and they'll help you determine whether or not your year group can be supported either in or out quotas. The IWC accepts transfers from other Navy communities via lateral transfer or also the Parker process. There are also inter-service transfers that officers from other branches of the military can apply to join the IWC. Our direct accessions sources include OCS, Naval Academy, NROTC, the Merchant Marines, the indefinite recall for reservists, requesting recall to active duty. And IP in particular is the only IWC community that leverages Stay 21 as another accession source. So yes, the answer is yes. We are definitely open to receiving lateral transfers. There's a lot of opportunity in the IW community for leadership in a highly warfighting domain that transverses the traditional kinetic, non-kinetic warfare areas. You know, like the kinetic warfare areas, air, sea, surface, and undersea, are supported and enabled by the information warfare. And that drives the fight in the fight for that adversary. And I think we've seen in the recent news how IW has been at the forefront. And one of my signature phrases, and I've been saying this, being in the joint community, because now that we have maritime space officers, especially at Space Command, there's some opportunities there. But I always say, no comms, no bombs. So what better community to be a part of than the information warfare community? So thank you for that.
Yes, awesome. Thank you, ma'am. I'm already a part of the information warfare community, but just hearing that spiel makes me feel like, man, girl, you're in the right place.
That's right.
So thank you so much for that. Just to kind of switch gears a little bit, as a junior officer, and for the other junior officers that are on the line, I would like to know from your perspective, what do senior officers want to see in us, especially considering the fact that, you know, there's so much going on in the world. There's so much change going on within our Navy right now. I think it would be important for us to kind of just hear your thoughts, to kind of tell us, you know, what are the things that we should be focused on?
No, thank you for that question. And first and foremost, I want to tell you that I am just so proud and so motivated by our junior officers. People ask me why I'm still in. Well, it is that time to pay it forward. I can't tell you how many people that I have an opportunity to mentor, but I just get motivated by your brains, by your energy, by your enthusiasm. So first and foremost, be motivated and enthusiastic, right? Be hungry and eager to learn. One who thinks two levels. What I always tell people is you got to think 2 levels up from where you are. So if you're a JG, you should already be thinking about a lieutenant commander. I tell everybody, hey, I'm already getting ready to, go for that 3rd star. But just think 2 levels up from where you are and seek out mentors and also become mentors. And, also get to know your people, genuinely find out what they care about, what motivates them, and what keeps them getting up and showing up every day. Our people are the lifeblood of the service, and at every level, there's an opportunity to mentor. So no matter what your rate or your specialty, we're all people, and we're all trying to get to that next level. Do not rely on your rank alone to earn your respect from other people. They should come to respect you because they know you care about them. So being able to identify with your people, keeping it real, and always being that the one who helps mold things together, because at every level you could be that mentor. From the ensign on up, there's an opportunity to mentor. So I really expect the juniors to kind of carry the load to get us to that next level and to build our future leaders.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And I just want to share this, you're a 1-star admiral and I'm a lieutenant, and I didn't even work directly for you. But when I reached out for a mentoring session, you were quick to say yes. You got me on your calendar. And so that's just a testament to everything that you just stated, ma'am. So I just want to say, thank you for that. And encourage the other JOs online. Don't hesitate. Reach out, because the only answer you can get that you don't like is no. So why not try it out? So thank you so much for that.
Yeah. And then sometimes, we feel like, hey, it's lonely. I don't want to say anything, but no, please reach out, because, I tell you, it does get lonely at the top, but I still have those people that mentor me to this day. So I think that, thank you for saying that. But yes, that's truly, it's, you build that cadre of individuals around you, your go-tos that can help you in those tough situations, because many have been there before or can help you navigate through it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. So, of course, one of the things that I see when I look at you is not only admiral, but a female African-American admiral. And, that is just so, it's awesome. And it's something that young folks like myself can aspire to. So my next question for you would be, would you mind telling us about your experiences, not only as a female woman in the Navy, but also as an African-American in the Navy?
No, thank you for that question, because I'm going to tell you, I've had a long ride, as you know, from my bio. And there's often times, I'm not looking at my reflection. So when people are interacting with me, I'm like, what are they saying? Why is this happening? So I'll give you a brief sea story. I call this my get off the bridge moment. And I have this moment in my life almost daily. So when I was on board the USS Constellation, qualifying to be the officer of the deck underway, that was no easy task. But I tell you, as I was going up through the qualification process, it was like everything I did was awesome. I mean, I was so awesome that I was the officer of the deck under instruction in record time. And, I'm feeling like, well, do I really know what I'm doing? I mean, I'm reading the checklist. I think I got it all together, right? Because, they never had a Black female OOD, so had to hurry up and make one, right? So as I was going along and, struggling through, but again, getting ready to wear the white hat, so to speak. And it was the navigator. He came up to me and he asked me, he said, hey, and you swos will know this. He says, what bearing drift does that contact have off of my starboard bow? And so I had my binos and I'm like, looking and, didn't know what I was looking at, right? And he goes, well, and I'm going to paraphrase. He said, you don't know what you're looking at, do you, Ensign? He said, get off my bridge, go down to combat and learn how to do a maneuvering board and earn your way up here like everybody else. So you know what I did? I got off that bridge, I learned how to do a maneuvering board, and I earned my way up there like everybody else. So what I say and what I've learned from that are like my 3 C philosophies. So C, first, be comfortable. Be comfortable, saying, hey, I don't know. I don't know what I'm looking at. I need help. Be comfortable in any room, in any situation, sitting at any table. Just be comfortable. And then if you don't know and understand, learn. Do the work, do the mold board, if you will. So then you can be able to, hey, now I'm competent. So I'm comfortable and I'm competent, and that breeds confidence. So my big lesson and struggle has been sometimes it's like, oh yeah, let's just let her because, but I have to check myself to really make sure, do I understand? Do I know what I'm doing? And I'm not just here because. I'm here because I earn and I know. So I'm comfortable, I am confident, and I am confident. And if I'm not, and like I said, almost on a daily basis, I have to take myself off the bridge to make sure I really know what I'm doing and surround myself with those individuals that really know what's going on. So that's like, a lot of people say, oh, I know it's been hard. Well, really hasn't been doors closed. It's been, oh yeah, wide open just because. And then like block checked. So see, we did this. But I've been saying, no, wait a minute, I belong here. I've earned my way here. So that has been my biggest struggle. And I at some point I'm gonna write a book to get off my bridge or something like that. But that's been my lesson and my philosophy moving forward.
That's really awesome, ma'am. Character and competence. That's what that sounds like to me. Have good character, be willing to do the work, be willing to ask the questions, and then be competent as well.
That's right.
Don't just be that check in the box.
That's right.
Make sure that when you speak, people listen because they know that this person knows what they're talking about.
Yeah, you belong on that bridge. And I tell you, when I earned my qual, Gator just turned around, looked at me, and like, okay, like everybody else, everybody's making a big deal of it, but but I worked for it, and it wasn't handed to me.
Yes, ma'am. I really like that. Thank you for that. On the heels of being a female in the Navy, we just recently was able to get our first female CNO confirmed. That is so awesome. And it is so cool to really be living in a time where we get to witness history. Do you have any thoughts on our first female CNO that you would like to share with the group?
Absolutely, because I tell you, when I was the CNO's executive assistant for Admiral Gilday, CNO Admiral Gilday at the time, I would walk the halls of the Pentagon, and as you know, there's a picture of the previous CNOs going far back from the first one to the current one. And I was like, they all have something in common. They're all white males. I'm like, what if there ever is an opportunity to get a female up there or someone, of color up there? How awesome would that be? So I will tell you, Admiral Franchetti is when you talk about trailblazer, and I had an opportunity when she's the vice chief to work alongside her, and she is the right pick. And I just think what this should do for us is just really motivate us and go, well, look, see, you can do this. You can get there. And she worked hard. You look at her resume, her bio, and all the things that she's done, and she's hung in there, and she's standing tall. And the thing that I like most about her in particular is that she's a person that you can identify with. She really does keep it real, and it's not like, hey, I'm up here and you're down there. So what that's done for me is, of course, that's just motivating, one, that someone that can come up through the ranks like that. And I mean, this is a really historical time for us. In all the years that the Navy has been around, this is the first time we've ever had a female chief of naval operations. I think we all should be proud of that fact. We all should be proud that the doors are opening. I tell a lot of people all the time, you better watch out, because here we come, knocking them down in all different aspects. It used to be a lot of times I was the only. And still there's still that time where you're the only, but now every now and then. In fact, I went to a training for flag officers, and there was another female general officer. She was an Army 1-star, and we just looked at each other like, whoa, we never have seen two of us in the room. So I think this is just a wonderful time for us, and just really paving the way for the future. And there's going to be a time when there's not going to be a big deal. It's going to be like, oh yeah, that's just the norm. That's how it is. So this is just the beginning, I think, of some greatness for all of us from a diversity standpoint.
Yes, ma'am. she's the right fit.
Oh,
We
yeah.
picked the right fit, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I do have one more question that I want to ask you before we turn the floor over to folks from the audience. As Captain Beck Adams mentioned, I am going through a transition and I'm getting ready to start off my next tour as a legislative fellow, which we talked about during our mentoring session.
Yes.
But just generally speaking, as a junior officer, what are some of the things that we can do to just kind of stand out, right?
You know,
How,
yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So it talks about, getting mentored, but do your job and do your job well. Study. Take yourself off the bridge, as I had previously mentioned. Be comfortable, be competent, be confident. Establish relationships also. Get out of your comfort zone. A lot of times we like to just stay in and do, what we know we're good at, but then you don't grow and you don't develop. So get out of your comfort zone, your routine, and learn as much as you can about the overall mission. I remember, being, on the carrier, and I wanted to know about all the different aspects, what everybody was doing. I'm like that now at Space Command, like, a little bit of a fish out of water, literally, but there's just so many aspects to space. And I'm afforded the opportunity being in ops to learn about all those different things. Be visible and maintain a cadre of professionals that you can trust. Right? I talked somewhat about that earlier. Someone that'll provide you with some solid feedback. Some, hey, going down the wrong road, or no, here's how you do this. Not just criticizing you, but giving you some solid feedback. Also, learn as much as you can about your specialty and others, and how they also interlink. Also, learn and don't be afraid of joint, and seek out your assignments that will help you grow your joint knowledge and your skill set. Because our Navy, as well as the Joint Force, are looking for leaders who not only know about maritime operations, but also who are familiar and knowledgeable on operations on all of the nation's warfighting domains, to include, as I mentioned earlier, the land, the air, the cyber, the space. So the Joint Force needs commanders who can understand how each of these warfighting domains interact and synergize to create winning outcomes for our Joint Force, both regionally and globally. So the sooner that you get the opportunity to get acclimated or exposed to anything in the joint arena, don't be afraid. Seize that opportunity.
Yeah, that's awesome, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. So without any delay, I want to make sure we get these questions that we have from the audience. We have one question that states, he's looking to join the information warfare community from the surface community. Are there any pointers or any advice that you have that you'd like to share with them?
Yes, we want you, big one, because you got that great experience. But like I said, depending on your year group, I would say just start with the community managers. Talk to the community managers first to make sure for your year group there's an out quota and that we have an in quota in whatever aspect that you're looking at. Because like I mentioned, there's so many different parts to the information warfare community. So we got great home pages out there. So just get online and learn as much as you can, so that you understand, hey, do I want to be an Oceano? Do I want to be an intel officer, cryptologic warfare officer, space officer? There's so many aspects to it. And I think the talent that you will bring, having that surface experience, will definitely be helpful. So just start with your community managers, do your homework on the actual IW community, and figure out which group that you actually want to get, what designator you actually are most interested in, and have a backup as well. And I'd be more than happy to kind of chat you up if you need someone just to talk to, especially about the IP community in particular, which I'm most familiar with.
Thank you for that. We're still waiting for a couple more questions to roll in. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, here we go. We have a couple comments. I want to make sure I share those with you too, ma'am. One is just saying thank you so much for your time. She's very proud of this entire discussion. So thank you, Miss Michelle. Also, one more comment. she said that we're the foundation of what the information warfare community is, the foundation of what other warfare communities need
Yeah.
in order to accomplish their mission. And I think that that really surmises everything that you've been talking about today,
Yes.
kinetic and non-kinetic, right? Being able to take those experiences from those traditional URL communities and apply it in really a I would say savvy way, right?
Yes.
That gives us the tactical advantage. So
Absolutely. You can't move or shoot if you can't communicate. And then
yes,
I think
ma'am.
everybody knows what happened, how the Carney did some wonderful things. And that's like information warfare at its best, because there's a lot of things that have to happen left of boom. And I think that's where we're spending
Yes.
our time in the information warfare arena. So no, thank you for that. Yeah, I am proud and honored to be a part of this community.
Yes, ma'am. Me too. Me too. And I told you, I can't speak for everyone else out there, but having these type of discussions it reinvigorates my motivation.
Yes.
It lets me know that, I'm in the right field. I'm contributing to something that's moving our Navy forward. So
Absolutely. And it's motivating for me too. Like I said, I just get excited about our up and coming leaders, because you are the future. And it keeps me on my toes too. Make sure you stay relevant. Make sure you understand what's going on in the community, so that you can provide that information to others. So I appreciate this forum as well.
thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Um, I'm not seeing any questions. If you're out there and you have any last minute questions that you want to make sure that the you get an opportunity to ask the admiral, please place those in the chat. Oh, I have one here. Lieutenant Perkins, comment on your HBCU NRTC program. Okay. If you don't mind, ma'am. I know this
Awesome.
is this is your hour.
No, it's our hour.
Okay, thank you. So as Captain McAdams mentioned, I graduated from Tuskegee University with a degree in chemical engineering. I really, really enjoyed the HBCU experience for ROTC. I think that it's really great in that the Navy at large made it a point to make sure that young officers or young prospective officers, midshipmen, had an opportunity to not only get an HBCU experience, but also receive the training and the tools necessary to earn a commission. I am a self-proclaimed Southern Belle. I was born in Selma, raised in Atlanta, and I've always dreamed of going to an HBCU, just from a culture standpoint. And so it really was a very valuable and a very fun, I'll be blatantly honest, very fun experience for me, because I got the degree of my dreams. I got the tools I needed to commission, right? And then I also got that traditional HBCU experience. And I think that now I kind of wear it as a badge of honor. When I introduce myself, when I show up to a new command, there's always so many questions like, oh, Tuskegee University. I've never heard of that. And I'm like, don't say that to me. I have so much to tell you about. Let's talk about the Tuskegee Airmen. Let's talk about George Washington Carver. Let's talk about the syphilis study. Let's talk about all of these great things that, took place at my particular alma mater. But this applies to HBCUs across the nation. There's so much historical events that took place there. There's so much historical value there. And I think that it is a great way to not only represent the things that our culture has to offer, but also highlight the fact that we have the character and we're competent, right? That we go out into the Navy and we're just as savvy. We're just as, competent as the Naval Academy graduates, right? Or, other officers that commission from PWIs. And so, for me, I was just really grateful to be able to not have to choose, right? To get the career and get the experience and the education as well. So
Yeah. That is awesome. Now, do you still stay connected to a lot of the people that you graduated with?
yes, ma'am, I do. Not only do I stay connected to the people that I graduated with, what I found is like, especially in fleet concentration areas, HBCU graduates, HBCU officers, we kind of band together. I remember when I was a SWO and I was out on the waterfront in Norfolk, I knew all the HBCU grads, on the destroyer down the way, on the cruiser down the way. So I think I kind of like that because it's kind of like our own sort of like network, right? I also think, on the heels of talking about the importance of mentoring, I also try to at least one to two times a year reach back out to the Tuskegee Command and make myself available to the midshipmen because, to be honest with you, going to a predominantly Black African American school, it is a little bit intimidating when you get out to the fleet, right?
Yeah.
That is not your working environment. And sometimes we don't have people that we can have those very frank and blunt conversations with and say, hey, how did you navigate this? How did you figure out who you should go to on your ship to get your qualifications?
Right. Yeah.
What ship should I go to? Where should I start? And I was just, the last time I did it, I got a cadre of all of the other graduates from year group 16, and we kind of had a roundtable discussion, and they asked a lot of those questions that, we kind of didn't know to ask, but we just kind of went out there and figured it out. But how amazing is it that we can take our lessons and take our experiences and say, hey, this is what I did, good, bad, or different. This is how I would do it better, right? This is what I recommend that you do. And so, yeah, the mentoring piece.
That's so motivating. Yeah, building those relationships, getting that cadre of individuals around you to help strengthen and grow. That's what it's all about. I think that is outstanding. That's outstanding.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for that question. Shout out to Savannah State. I see Savannah State in the comments. One more question for you, Admiral, or a topic that they would like for you to talk about. They said, Admiral, please talk to us about being an EA on the CNO staff.
Woo! My goodness. So let me tell you how this happened. It's like every time I think I'm getting out, I get promoted. And so I'm sitting I was in command at the time, and I'm sitting at my desk, and I get a call from Admiral Ashback. She's the leader of the information warfare community. She goes, how would you like to be the CNO's EA? I'm like, what? What are you talking about? I can't do that, in my mind first, right? Because I remember when Vice Admiral Norton, when she was his EA, and I'm like, well, I can never do that job. So fast forward, interview, everything worked out. The first thing I would say is when I got interviewed, I was thinking I was doing all my studying. I was, reading all the right documents, learning everything that I could about, listening to his testimonies. And I get in there and he goes, tell me about your parents. I'm like, what? But yeah, I was almost tripped up. And your siblings, what do they do? He just asked me just questions, just about me, to see what type of person I was and, what I was comfortable with. Didn't ask me anything strategic, right? Because that's what I was prepared for. So the first surprise was that, not no surprise really, but, they're all just human beings like the rest of us. I remember sitting next to the chairman and the Secretary of Defense and all of them. So first, it's one of those, you have one of those, are you kidding me moments? It's a little surreal. When you're in the room and the dudettes now are in the room with you, and you're like, whoa. And there were some things from a strategic perspective that I learned so much about our Navy at large, because in my warfare domain, I didn't realize I had my head down in the cockpit as much as I did. But when I did lift up and out and look strategically, it was just incredible, because there's just so much to our Navy. And then to see how he had to work with Congress and, the professional staffers, that was eye-opening. So what I actually did is I took a class at Georgetown University, just so that I can learn a little bit how Congress, how everything works, so that I could help him in the speeches. So one, my strategic perspective was just blown away, and it really helped put together a lot of pieces that, that I didn't really understand. As long as I'd been in, I was like, oh, that's why we do this, and that's all, and oh, the SDOB and all of this stuff. And now I'm living a lot of that as being in joint, but I've already kind of been exposed to it from that level. And also, I'm telling you, flying on those G6s, those G7s, those private plane, not too shabby when we went to go travel. It's like makes you never want to go commercial again. That was quite an experience, but it was some hard work. It was some dedicated work, and his passion, and just to see the bandwidth that he had and the way he was able to retain information and just turn things around was amazing. So I did take a lot of, I learned a lot from him, just how he absorbed information, how he tracked information. And I think that's really helped me be a better naval officer, just being exposed to all this. But it was extremely exciting. So if you're ever afforded that opportunity to be a deputy EA, to be an aide, in those circles, your eyes will be open. And one, you will really be comfortable around the 4 stars and the 3 stars because you've been in the room. So thank you for that question. It was an amazing opportunity.
Well, I am on the screen because sadly to say, our time is up. We have enjoyed this discussion. It has been wonderful, Admiral. Admiral Pringle says to tell you 2 thumbs up. He is so happy that you agreed to be with us. And I could just hug you, but I won't do that.
Thank you.
We're so grateful for you. And Lieutenant Perkins, girl, you're my idol. I might be your mentor, but you're my idol. Man, what she failed to mention to us is that she qualified surface warfare on a carrier.
Wow. Awesome. That's awesome.
Yes, we're going to have you back on in years to come as a
Oh, yes.
Admiral Perkins. I'm putting it in the atmosphere.
Speak it out loud. Speak it.
Speak it out.
Well, thank you.
So we thank you so much. And as I said, it's time for us to say goodbye. So Admiral, I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to wrap up. We have actually 5 minutes to wrap up, please.
Well, thank you so much. And I really do appreciate this opportunity. One, I want people to know that, I'm still in it. I'm still, wanting to pay it forward. And whenever there's a mentoring opportunity, I will seize that opportunity because I remember there were times when I didn't want to ask the question, as I mentioned earlier in my C story. So don't hesitate to ask the questions. I think we serve an outstanding Navy, and there is so many opportunities that exist. A lot of times when I got there, remember I said every time I think I'm getting out, I get promoted. I was at crossroads a lot of times. Well, what if I do this and do that, and then something would open up and I'm like, okay, let me try this. So just don't, look across and see all the things that may be available to you. It's serving in the Navy. There is many opportunities, and you can do it at a young age and still build a good portfolio to do some other things. And like I mentioned, the joint. That's a whole nother level, and they need more sailors. We need more sailors in the joint room. Trust me, we do. No, but that there's some opportunity there as well. So. Continue to participate in lunches like this, in brown bags like this, and conversations like this whenever you can, because again, that you never know who you might motivate, who you might encourage, or what nugget you might get. Like I got me some HBCU goodness just listening here to Lieutenant Perkins. So that was awesome. So, and I'm continuing to learn and grow too, and I'm really proud of all of you. I'm just honored and blessed to serve. So thank you again for this opportunity, Mary. You're the trailblazer.
Thank you, ma'am. We really, really enjoy doing the virtual brown bags, and we enjoy when we ask people to participate. They say yes. That makes my job easy. So we are always looking for new topics. Admiral Pringle wants us to focus on communities, focus on the marine communities, the Coast Guard communities, and the Navy communities. So that's my tasker from him. And I have hopefully done a very good job at it. So the other thing I wanted to let us know, for those that are listening in, NNOA has a new program that we launched at the symposium. It's the Cadet Portfolio, and that allows us to connect. Actually, we changed the name. It's Junior Officer Portfolio. And we changed the name because we are focusing on junior officers, and we're asking our junior officers, like Lieutenant Perkins, to mentor someone at an HBCU or at an NRTC program, period. And so Lieutenant Perkins has a mentee that just graduated from Tuskegee and is now at flight training school. Yes. And we have several of our JOs who are reaching back and doing that. So I will ask you, JOs who are listening, or senior officers, if you have a great JO, because what CNET would like for us to do, the Chief of Naval Education and Training and the Naval Service Training Command CO, is to connect our ROTC midshipman to a JO, someone that is, 1 to 2 to no more than 3 pay grades. So that's why we're doing this. We want to make sure we are career developing them before they get on active duty, as Lieutenant Perkins mentioned. So again, thank you both. We appreciate you. And this will end this session of our virtual brown bag. Please join us again. We won't do one in December. We'll be back again in January. So look forward to seeing all of you. Thank you so much.